So I think decentralization is a really interesting topic. I think it's also like the most overused phrase or terminology in Web3 overall, because it's very altruistic, right? I think decentralization makes a lot of sense in money, and I think it makes a lot of sense in Bitcoin in particular. I'm always weary when I hear of a cryptocurrency talk about decentralization not named Bitcoin, because often there is some sort of centralized entity or a group behind it or a foundation that has a large pool of, you know, the overall supply, right? So that in its own sense is an issue. I think it really just comes down to like how decentralized is enough for you and in what capacity and what aspect of it, right? So everybody likes to talk about like the maritime industry. Does the maritime industry need to be so decentralized that I can go on the blockchain and see when something was shipped or moved? No, it doesn't. But if there's, you know, parties within a consortium of organizations from manufacturing to shipping to supply, and they have some sort of aspect of sharing information, then that can, of course, make sense. I have a hard time believing that any Fortune 500 company would want to give away part of its value creation. So, you know, I'm not to be a downer, but I just don't see why any company that has to you know, optimize shareholder value would ever say like, hey, like let me actually like get rid of some of my value creation. That being said, I do think there's some interesting opportunities for companies who originate from that place and to disrupt incumbent companies, incumbent brands. We're a long ways away from anything like that happening. But yeah, decentralization is always a fun topic.